What is up? What is up? Welcome to another session. Conversations from people from all sides of the world. From this society to so I see. Much peace to all those who will come through as always. Hope everything is going fine. We're going to go through some introduction before a few folks get into town. We can have a chat on a few topics. The description, more than welcome to come through and have your word heard. I would be appreciative like on the way through, share, subscribe, comment, all input is welcome. Much peace. Always. I'll do the best you can do. For everything in this time of lockdown. From China to the Pacific Ocean. All the oceanic regions, all the people in the beautiful culture from the Asian region, Orient, to the Americas, South America and North. They will be great. Discuss, I guess, so I'll try. I'm not quick enough with it. Gotta get more on some of the game it is. I think so. Let's see if I could just the viewer, I think. But oh, I did it wrong again. Some more intro music, get through this. All these compositions are original, composed by myself. If anyone is interested in mixing or mastering, do contact sunraysin at Gmail. sonraysin@gmail.com. Any mixing, mastering, audio queries, or if you be purchasing audio technique tips, up to you. But yeah, man. Doesn't seem as though, I don't know. Oh, we've been like live for only a minute. I've played 3 songs. Maybe this shit stream has been live for a minute. Let me check it. Let me get it 128 at 90 seconds. Just for record stepping. Remember, you can not go into any Republican half ass. You go just put into the bass. Yes, yo. Yes, yo. Dance to the what? hydrant, filling up a bowl, big big hydrant. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, enough feed me, coming straight out of Fiji. Land, lots of lunatic, kids and never second lunatic. Eminem, occupating lunatic. This is replication, combination of performance station. Cause I'm a bleed seed, get the back, please. Alright, peace up. Looks like one in the building. Just going through some intro to get a few people here. Hopefully we'll get some I did it again. Alright, peace to the people in the house. I will just do one more share and get a few more people and then also get into the discussion. Yeah, I hope it is all going smoothly. All definite. Everybody is more than welcome to come up. I'll put the link in the description. I hope all is coming through clear. What's on the tank in the MI? Repeat like be that man. What you gonna take? Come from Afghanistan? What the? Get on the mic, kill the shit, my friend. I'm about to kill the shit, my friend. I'm about to kill the shit. Check your when I want a bass so contact. You want that, so I can respond back with my time, with my rhyme, with my space, with my grace. Cause I float and I come and back on to win race. And it's more to steep in, can't it deep in when I come afloat. When I'm born to swim, cause I was born to float, and I was born to choke, cause I was born to locust coming out my throat. Out my mind, inclined upon the more better than mine. State of mind is where I'm at. Yeah, it's on the style. I wanna do some fine pitch. See the poem for you can't even record. Bass, beats, and that break. Where you gonna do it from the beast? Shake the water, heat the mic. You heat it again, take it on the mic it again because it hurts. Oh, see, busting on the tape and I repeat. I said, hey, I'll see, and doing it daily. Check it back on the rap it is better my cat. I'm a better side cat. Kick up on the dry out, cause the dry was about to live upon now. Now the river deliver the fluid somehow. The rain came down for the clouds upon showers and crowds upon crowds and round upon rounds. Drinks gone, finks flowing, minds like links going. So where's the fucking sphinx gone? Hold up, wait up, I'm about to set me a trend. Get on the mic, you know what I don't need no pen. I need enough paper, I send the rest of the mind. It's in my brain confined. It's like finding the rhymes that come back with rhythm, spitting, give that I got for mine. It's not decisions I'm making, concentrating, cross baking, crossing the world cause the space is vacant. Fake, beat, take again when you wanna take my race and say friend like this. Yo, find the rhyme, I'ma be the fucking taste nowadays. And I won't be back. Mike Show would do some shit said like yo, that you are my friends. If you wanna get like kicking the rap, flipping the back, cricket is back. I'm in the poem, kicking the wick, sick of the hat. Which hat for that? Which hat for me? Nightcap, snap back, you G. Ain't the rich crowd for this eye, cause I'm about to rip pies, rip bars, and go upon the bass, strip hip hop. That's it, it's on main shit. Australia's in the game, the phone play, no one say
shit. But how can I get from one called Viti? It's the fucking place you call Viti. Feet Sama, called Fiji. Omasei, Omasama, Bulava Naka. Come and tape, have you kinda get up your food, you ain't dude, you ain't rude, you have your carve, I have a proof, so nice to have you in the house, no doubt. So kick up on the mic if we're gonna scream and shout. So check.
Alright, alright. I hope everybody's good out there. Beginning acknowledgement again to all the traditional owners of this land that I speak on. And love to the ancestors, past, personal, and to those who are listening. Um, I'll start off with a uh, smoke session. So if you're out there and you got some green, some flowers, if you like to medicate with me just for a second. Ceremonial. So, I mean, again, as I was just sitting here, another impromptu think up. I was like literally um, realizing it's quite weird hours. It's all early American hours and quite loud. It's like 9:15 here in the evening. But I was just going on the thought of like the title here. Are we going, or are we bound to live in perpetual, perpetual, sorry, disruption? So are we going to live in perpetual disruption, or can we find harmony? Like, and well, does it matter? And then if so, like, like, so I mean, by that title, what I'm saying is the, is it for going to be an ongoing um, distractions or will we ever just have a time of complete peace? For those of us out there that think, can't we all live peacefully together and have a harmonious uh, world? Kind of like maybe the hippie term, maybe like hand in hand, even referred to that movement. Previously just took it us, I think it was. Uh, Hands across America, every uh, minor thing. And then everybody was, every single person was together. Um, connected with and caring about one another in respect. So, I mean, so, they control, what leaders are they able to control the people in peace? Do they even have that in their thought of their mind? Like, that's this is the thing. Are we maybe doomed to live in perpetual distractions, disruptions, towards what we see on every time I kind of, I'm in the third decade of my life now, and when I was in my teens and 20s, I guess, and like, mm, uh, from, 8 years old. Maybe I wasn't really then. Maybe like so the late mid-teens and 20s. You'd notice start watching the news and everything there they say is like basically every story is something bad. Not bad, but like I mean, like something. There was a sad story, or there was another war going on in some place. There was an attack. There was a car accident. There was a robbery somewhere. Stories don't seem to, they never. And of course, there's many things which aren't told. Like there's many crimes which aren't reported that don't go on the news. Or sometimes you see some topics on the news like which seem irrelevant. Like it'll be about a puppy. They'll go from a murder story to a a puppy that was across the road or something like on a highway or on a busy street. Your information is being thrown at us by them, but then we've even got the people of political leaders. Like I was just kind of looking up this before. Um, let's see if I can- so I think yeah, this is. So I mean, I think this if this should go across, it'll be um, you know, and I think it was Citizen Man. It was we were discussing. He did a stream basically describing the difference between Freemasonic and Masonic groups. Um, Not to say that these are the this might be the uphold and be all of everything, but just similar fraternities and uh, people of caliber in corporations, on people sitting on the boards, so like who have sway and power to um, you know I guess make this. It could be that as I was sitting, when we're a teenager or when we're in our 20s, when we think, well, can't we all get along? These people are the sort of people that may be able to make this happen. Others, but is that the possibility? I mean, is it possible, or do they even consider this? Is it even? Do they exactly like? I mean, do is it or do yeah? I mean, also, or the other side of the coin, is it considered they want perpetual distractions and things like this and wars to continue, and will never attain a time of complete peace of what we kind of imagine as the ancients would have been as living in tribal times off the land in harmony like a harmonious state with each other communities, small and large, so micro and macro sense, but then also living in harmony with nature and earth, the earth itself. Um, is that all something that we can just fathom, and it might not be possible? Are these the people that hold the key to it? Some of these groups, and that's the question. Like um, I mean, to myself, I wonder why. I can consider it quite easy. I like to be respectful, to get along with everybody and be peaceful, and earth and live off the land. Appreciate what we can nurture from it if we plant and toil the soil. Um, and waters and things like that we get off it, and then to share care with people. But it can, I'm not in a position of political power or corporate power. So maybe, I've also said that, um, you can't say things like you unless you fit in their shoes. You know what I mean? I mean, I thought that didn't really come across well. It was basically, it was a lot of my high school time. I thought, well, um, how can, like, this was the time basically of all the maybe Iraq war and stuff like that. So in Afghanistan, so it's like how Bush all decide to drop bombs on innocent people and stuff like that. Um, so uh, then like how about basically you think, is it, you know are they realizing what they're doing? Is it, but then I think, or do you think, how can they? I just think it's insane that they do drop these bombs, but then I have not. One thing that I did say, and I'm trying to get the point across, is I've never walked in their shoes. I've never been the president or so of the country, so maybe I can't. You can't talk on that if you do fit in that position. Maybe the decision is to be made in that way, and it always seems, you know. Um, it's kind of it's a tough people. Like, but I break it down to also with narcotics. It's like people that have an opinion on narcotics and they haven't actually tried the substance themselves. I really don't think it's quite relevant because they don't have an understanding of what it's like, so they haven't been in the shoes. So I mean, their comment can be made, but how much weight it holds um, is a bit different. Is another thing. So that's how I'm trying to get with the basically um, president type thing. I'll just welcome to the panel. Actually, we've got for the first time got a couple people in the house. My brother Ma from Belgium, man, supplying with this beautiful scenery again. I guess there'll be some leaves are growing. Um,
Morning, Sunray.
what is up? What is up, man? Um, so is there? I see that there might be some more leaves coming through on the trees soon, but not quite yet. It'll be another few months. But yeah, thanks for this green grass. It's a beautiful display there. I really enjoy that. I appreciate it. Uh,
Oh, it's a fine day. It's a fine day.
hope you're well, man.
We're all in lockdown.
Okay,
Yes.
but is there, they do have, okay, yeah. I guess I haven't kept up too much with the information, but Europe is quite heavy, I guess,
Now in
in the
Belgium,
situation. I
we
got with
just
a few
reached.
people. It takes time for the things to get out. So notice, so if anybody else wants to come up, and it's not in your chat history, I'll just put the link across if you want to hit up. But yeah. So what's been happening over in your side, my brother? You sound jovial, and everything is a good day. So
Yes,
what
but
else has been
we
happening
just
over
reached
there?
500 deaths in Belgium. We just
Oh,
reached
well,
500 deaths in Belgium.
was that today? Yeah, well, that was today. Okay, so I also, you got unrealized these back. We got my brother. You can come more than welcome to come up and have your word, bro. But as Mal was just saying, so you hit 500, was it today? So I was saying the previous one, so it was 111 2 days ago overnight in Victoria. 685. I don't know how many deaths we've got in Australia. I think it's quite minimal. We might be like under 50. Um, I'm pretty sure we're in double digit or may even be single digit deaths in Australia. So to hear 500, that's a fair bit. But I heard Italy had 9,000. But have you seen anybody affected in your area?
I still haven't seen nobody infected in this area, but with the
Yeah.
500, it's rising with about 80 people in 24 hours dying. They say, yeah.
Whoa. So 8 people in 24 hours. That's maybe one every 3 hours on average. See, this is another thing I think. Like, how long does it take? And maybe these people have lied dormant for 2 weeks and then it just explodes, or does it? Are they catching it and they, within one day or within a few hours? It's very much contagious that everywhere within, so many. Is that number going to go from 8 every 24 hours to maybe 80 in 24 hours? That's going to be
Yes,
a
tomorrow will
terrible
be
thing.
600, probably.
Really?
Tomorrow will be
Okay.
600.
Much peace, brother. Just welcome my new brother here. We got Amriel Aussie, new Australian friend, bro. Much peace, bros. Anytime you want to unmute, which is open panel discussion here. So, we just, as I said, it was impromptu type thing. We're just going to have talk through. So you're more than welcome to, but yeah, we'll continue on, man.
Yeah, g'day guys. I won't hang around long. I'm just about to go to bed actually, so I just thought
Yes,
I'd
good night.
come today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that again, mate. And I guess you come up and to sort of get on cam for you about bedtime.
Yeah, you come on late.
A bit of that Aussie skunk, as they know. um, so, but I mean, I guess that's the stuff that could be the beneficial. Um, maybe the answer to this whole mess, because I don't even know. Have they even looked into that? Is there a medicinal benefit to this COVID thing? What do you think about this COVID thing? Unreal. Have you been watching much news about it? Or
Yeah. It's I don't know what to think about it, but you're sort of just waiting for the next update all the time.
and it just seems it's kind of worse and worse over here.
It is down in Tassie. Like there's only 60 odd cases. And that line's flattening out, I think. So I mean, we're not too worried down here about it, but it's just the inconvenience of everything.
Yes, and even you said that triggered me as thinking. I think the ACT had a first confirmed case of like an 80-year-old woman dying, and so did Tasmania too, right?
Yeah.
There was
Yep.
an 80-year-old lady passed, first one. But anyway, so commiserations to those people or condolences. But inconveniences, say like things are shut down, the businesses,
Yep.
I guess. Yeah. But over
Yep.
here we have, it seems, I mean, for the people overseas, if you're listening, the government here, they just announced again, so another like stimulus package for the people. all the businesses and workers and see how things fold out, I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do some good news. I did watch it today, a little bit of like what the on ABC. It's probably the only thing I really watch.
Yeah, same
If
with
I
me.
do, yeah. And that's how they were talking um, with the treasurer or whatever. But you know, I think they all just talk whatever they have. They say whatever they have to say, and it's all a bit of a script, you know.
Yeah.
So that I mean, and that's the thing actually. Where I'm at that point where it's like, it was a impromptu thing, and I was just thinking, are we bound to be living in this time of like, you know, everybody's going to argue, and everyone will be at war. There'll be tech, like, you know, are we ever going to find this a place of like as the hippies used to say, peace and love, you know, like as I was in my teen years, I used to think, well, can't we all just get along and things like that? Or, you know, like, or is it just bound to be this, what we have, and it's just going to get people get sicker and sicker, and people are going to be, you know, be more and more wars, advancements in weapons and stuff like that? Or even does it matter? Should we just live our life and just go with the flow? Like, it's kind of
Not too much you can do about it.
Good morning,
Sort of go with
Unreal.
the flow, don't you? Sorry, man.
I say good morning, Unreal.
How you going?
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
I'm from Belgium.
Oh, okay. Yep. So you're in the thick of it.
Long distance, but
Yep.
I don't know if you guys know from 1938, the War on the Worlds radio show. You have heard about it?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it resembles a little bit like that time. They fool people that there's a war on the world, and now we have an alien invasion with rubber gloves.
That's one way of looking at it. That's for sure.
There's a lot of similarities, and they were been predicting alien invasion for a decade now, I think.
Yep.
okay. I haven't heard too much about that. So I'll have a look in this. There's a book, was it? And then the government fooled the people.
Oh, well, 1 April is an April Fool's Day, and they broadcasted in 1938 a show where they pretended there was a war on the world, that aliens were invading, and many people thought it was real. They played a joke on the entire population.
Yep. War of the
Wow.
Worlds. I can't believe you haven't heard of that. Yeah, War of the Worlds. Orwell, someone Orwell.
Or George or
George, yeah.
I think I wonder if there's a book 1984 like that as well. 1984.
Yep.
Okay, that's probably one of his other books. All right, well, there you go. You learn something every day, and that's something that's good. That's what I try and, you know.
But if you follow America,
be burning off each other.
you see in America now the tanks, they are rolling. Tanks are rolling for the troops. They talk about hunting down people.
I saw a couple of pictures of someone sent me I saw that a picture of like all these tanks on like a cargo train line. They went on the road, but there was probably like, I didn't, you know, maybe I didn't, at least I counted like 6, but how big is a cargo train? So maybe like 20 odd tanks going across.
More like hundreds.
What for though? Really?
Oh, well, in New York
Yeah, don't know about.
Yeah.
is the
Okay.
new epicenter
So
of the
are they
virus.
kind of? Why are they worried everyone's gonna run around? I guess. I don't know.
Martial law, I guess.
New Yorkers, they're trying to flee
Yeah.
New York, for
And I
example,
saw a security. Yeah. So.
to Rhode Island. But
Yep.
the police from Rhode Island, they don't really want New Yorkers to come there. So every New Yorker that comes to Rhode Island
Yeah. You
is
just spoke up a
mandatory
little bit.
quarantined. I say
Mm.
the police from Rhode Island don't want New Yorkers to come there because they all are placed under mandatory quarantine.
Okay. I think you may have just spoke
Yep.
up a
I suppose
bit.
they're gonna.
Sorry. I said
Yeah. It might have
Rhode
come through
Island
a little bit
police, they
unclear,
don't
but
want New Yorkers to
I
come
did hear.
to
Yeah.
Rhode
Yeah.
Island. But a lot of
Yeah.
New Yorkers are fleeing New York to Rhode Island and they are put on
Oh.
mandatory quarantine in Rhode Island. And police will go door to those people.
Make sure they're doing it.
Well. I mean. GA. So I mean that's what I mean. See, yeah, I think like I mean I was surprised to see. I mean all this there's say control, but Marshall was a bigger step. But I went down to the local grocery store, like the Woolworths, and there was a well like a security guard at the in the toilet paper and serviette section, you know, like paper towel and stuff. I was quite surprised because I don't know they've been out of stock for a long time, but and you know they people have been taking more than uh, one what they need or whatnot, but it's quite surprising they had a security guard there for that. That people were only taking one, but I was just shocked. Maybe that's not shocking to many people, but like you know the next thing would be 100 tanks running down like Broadway and Times Square. Obviously, I went up there for you know, but I can't imagine that. I mean, shit. Well, anyway, yeah, I couldn't imagine that really.
No.
But I mean, and what would happen? There's nothing here. I don't think there's no talk. Is there any? Have you heard of anything about that over here? We're just kind of being in lockdown. I know that in Queen, I guess you guys are already your borders of Tasmania are already pretty much. Oh, are they been closed or no?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
they're closed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone who comes in now just straight into quarantine. You know, 2 weeks.
And the food supplies, but the food supplies are kept going.
yeah, no,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
food, plenty of food. No toilet paper, but got plenty of food. I
really,
think they just go bush, you know, and they just take as much as they can with them so they don't have to come out. You know, for a
yeah.
month. That's why they've got so many toilet rolls each. They're all gone bush.
It's like,
Yeah, they can live on kangaroo out there and they just need their toilet paper.
oh, right. So I mean, I was even thinking in that state because, like, you know, you guys are waterlocked, and I mean, my parents. I was born in Brisbane, and some of my family's in Queensland, and that is currently the borders locked there. I'm in South Australia at the moment, but like
Yeah.
folks are from Fiji. My dad's actually in Fiji at the moment, so he won't be coming back anytime soon.
Yep.
But yeah, the talk is you got to come back and have what a 14-day home quarantine.
Yeah. Now my wife is in New South Wales in Port Macquarie, and
Oh yeah.
she's studying uni up there. So we got a flat up there that we pay for, and yeah, she can't. Well, she can't go to uni; they're shut. But and she's doing all her uni studies over the internet.
Online.
Um,
Yeah.
but for her to come home, she'd have to try and ditch the lease on the unit. She's got a couple of kids with her too, so she, she's got to find somewhere to leave her car and everything that's in the flat and that, and fly home because she couldn't go across to the two states borders, through Victoria and then into Tasmania. She'd have to quarantine in both places. So the other way to get back is to fly. And then if she flies, she's got to self-quarantine. That means I'd have to go and look for somewhere else to stay because I have to still go to work. So,
Wow.
So I'd have to go and stay with friends or whatever. But then there's
Complicated.
So yeah, it's just that complicated. We just thought we'd just leave it as it is for a month, see what happens. If this curve comes down or whatever, they start relaxing it a little bit. But it doesn't look like it's going to go that way. So we might just ride it out where we are and give it a couple of months even. It might come around, but
Here in Belgium, they just prolonged it until 19th of April. And I hear in America, President Trump just also prolonged it until the end of 20 April. So it's going to stay for some time longer.
You're right.
That's it. I mean, yeah. That hopefully we'll see how long it goes for. But another interesting thing you just said is like people go on bush, right? Like so.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I mean, to me, because I grew up in Brisbane, and I've come to Adelaide, and then see even that when I came to here, like, cause I'm just explaining it in a way of say, if you drive 20 minutes out of the actual the center of the CBD, you in Brisbane, you're still going to be in a really, really urbanized area. Like you're not going to see kangaroos and things like that. But if you go 20 minutes maybe in Adelaide, you're going to really start a little bit, you'll start to see more of that stereotypical nature of Australia, that well-known. So like in Tasmania, that's surprising. So like if you're at the town kind of in proximity to the amount of land there, is there a lot of space of wildlife, and then just Launceston and Hobart and a few other cities?
Yeah. So we've got there's a few, Devonport and Burnie, but there's a bit of distance between them, and everyone just lives, most people just live around them, around the cities. So they come in from the bush to the cities to get all their supplies, and then they go back again. Not so much the bush, but even just the small little towns around the bigger cities, They all do their shopping in the big cities because it's too dear to do the shopping in the little cities, in the little towns.
Yeah.
So they come into the cities, they buy all the toilet paper up, they buy everything, enough groceries for a month, and then they go back to the little town or their humpy up the bush or their mansion up the bush, their properties, So they come in, they rob us of all our goods and go again.
I mean, so like I guess, how about the water supply? Would you be able to go to the up and get that on some mountains up there? Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of water, running water here. Plenty of water, everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. It's very green down there, actually. Actually, yeah, it's very green in Tasmania. Yeah. You have fresh water everywhere.
And up in the Highlands, there's lakes, freshwater lakes, trout. like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, nah, she's
Yeah,
pretty,
that's something I
pretty well.
think. And then the reception of the internet, that's all radio, or that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's
yeah,
you
we're
could
pretty good.
pretty much live up there,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
you're
No,
saying, you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'd like to move out bush myself actually, just to get the peace and quiet.
yep,
Um,
absolutely.
no, one day.
Oh, we've got another Australian. We've got a Sydneyite up in here. I don't know if he's got the link in the chat, but he's more than welcome. Shout out to Don Davo from Sydney. Don Davo. But so
This
how about
morning,
your work? Hey, are you guys both still in work, or maybe Unreal? Are you still at work? Yeah. Oh, and I said so. You said you were, right? So that's because a lot of people have sort of stopped work, but now they're going back. How about you, Ma? Are you still at work, or your work is shut down?
well, I told you last time I'm
Oh, that's right.
unemployed.
You're on the benefit. Yeah, you're on the
Yes.
benefit now. That's
But
right.
like
That's
this
right.
morning, I went to shopping, to the shopping center or the shop, and now they want you to spray your hands to disinfect your hands before entering the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got that over. Yeah, I seen that when I went to the last time I went to the supermarket. They're standing out the front there. They've closed everything's like one entrance. And there's someone there with some sanitizer, making sure you. It's really strange. And then another thing, a strange thing I heard was here was that like it's even getting. I don't know what state where it was, but it's like the group contact thing or gathering has been like. I know that a funeral was down to 10 people, which is a quite shocking thing a few days ago. But then when there was another one saying just yesterday saying 2 people, like I think outside an outside gathering was just down to
Yeah.
2 people. So basically, I'm thinking you can only walk with your partner outside. That's it.
I think if you've got a couple of kids, and you're all family and you live in the same household, I think they class that as one person. So you can, someone walks up to greet you, you can still talk to them. You've got your kids with you, because you live in the same household. If one's infected, they're all infected anyway. So I don't know. I think that's how it is.
Right. Okay. That
I think
makes a bit more sense to me then.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you know, yeah, if you've got to take your couple of kids down the supermarket because you can't leave them at home, if the other partner's working or whatever, you still got to go back straight away.
Yeah. So 2 people is like, how you going to get away with
But,
doing it?
but anyway, guys, I've got to go.
Yeah.
We'll wrap
Easy,
it up.
man. Have a good night. Make
Yeah.
sure you have a good day at work, brother. Again, once again,
Yeah, no worries.
appreciation, man. Come through.
Too easy. Yep. No, thanks for having me, and I'll catch up with you sometime anyway.
Do it again, yeah. Oh, if you ever, if you drop, I'll, I think I do the same sort of YouTube stuff, but anyway. Hope good things
Yep.
for you, partner too, up in this other, bro. Hope he stays alright and all the uni goes well next month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
no, that's
All
it.
right.
Yeah. Too easy, fellas. Catch
Have
us
a good
later.
one. Yeah. Cool, man. That's pretty dope, man. That's like Tasmanian perspective, or even in a little bit of New South Wales interstate through this time. Crazy. That's appreciation. Um, I don't know. Even if you did understand there, like I don't know if you know the geography of Australia, like we've got like 7 states and something like 7 states and 2 territories, I think it is. Or I could count that pretty quickly, but something like that. Or maybe it's 5 states and 2 territories. Let me see what it is. Yeah, so and then, you know, where we at on the count? 45 minutes. So, and there are Don's out there. If you're damaged to anyone else, see we've got a few people in here. So, I'm checking the, my mic is scratching. Sorry, brother. Maybe it's on my clothes. Could be. I hate it when that happens. Could be a bit better now. But let's have a refresh. But yeah, you still there, Mark?
I think this is just the beginning, this Andre. I don't think this will be over by summer. I don't think this will end. I think this is something they will keep pushing it like 9/11. Even 5 years later, people will say, yes, it's true, it really happened, this and that. Right. It's corporatocracy making a move on populations. It's not your local doctor saying or pushing this agenda. No, it comes from upper hand. It comes from the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, I mean, shit. That you know, it could make a lot of sense because, you know, if you look back in their time of, you know, the history and man of whatever it's been, there's been a lot of cases where it seems we have been duped, you know, where it seems we have the tables turned out different, you know, it's a completely different story. We find out now as it was to the times that it was, you know, back then.
Yes,
the way people were thinking is completely different.
Isolation is not resolving the situation. Isolation is maybe good for those who want us to be isolated, but for the people, for the democracy, for the freedom of speech, for the freedom of travel, this is a war on humanity and a war on democracy. This is fascism on the rise.
I mean, I've heard a lot of talk about that. I mean, you know, not that there's a lot of you know, people talking about that exact same thing. You know, it's kind of like a complete political shutdown or a fight against the democracy, as you said. You know, it's going to be their way or the highway. I mean, their way or no way. So.
A solution without alternatives and direct the police who will punish more severe if you don't follow the rules. They just make up the rules.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was about to say, what would be the worst thing? You'd have to you know, if it's their way or no way, what's the option then? You have to go off the grid and try and live off the land and run off into the bush. So, I mean, if you're prepared or equipped, and then what would be the penalty? What you just said, they make the rules. So I was just thinking, if you do get caught out there in the bush, what's the penalty? I'll be taken.
In my opinion, this is the worst. In my opinion, this is the worst resolving there could be imagined. You don't cure the people with this kind of isolation tactic.
Okay.
And people are left in insecurity. They don't know how these things are going to be solved. They don't know what is the program. And they give you step by step information, prolonging the situation, making the situation look more worse than it really is. Because we are still talking about a common cold pretending to be a deadly virus.
Yeah, and the way that that's the way that it takes effect on some particular people can be devastating, although others can be be positive for it and or contaminated with it and be able to be functional in everyday sort of society, physically and mentally, and be able to work properly. So it's quite a shock.
Yes, but everybody
I don't
has
think it's that.
bacteria inside their body. So
Yeah,
everybody can have some corona bacteria inside their body, but that doesn't mean you're going to die from some bacteria inside your body. It just means you carry that kind of strain, that kind of uh,
yeah.
bacteria. So it's
Mm-hmm.
they target the whole world, and that is their aim to target everybody. So they found a good strategy to target everybody.
Well, that's actually even a good. I mean, because I mean, I was just thinking in my mind there on the term of there's the people have I've even heard of the 5G and the link between that and COVID. There's a lot of talk about that and the activation. So you just said that's a great opportunity for that. And I'm just putting two and two together. Not to say, get me just make it even more skeptical. To think if everybody should and inside, and there is a link, what are they most likely to do is probably be on the internet, which is be on 5G. So instead of like being outside or just anywhere, um, you know, so to be, but in if you, yeah, that was just an off comment thought,
Well,
but off
5G
topic
is
thought.
one thing,
Yeah,
but the other thing is we just finished the automatization of the distribution of the whole of the big sale of the shopping centers. They all have big magazine full of automated storage. So it's not just the 5G, it's also the automatization of the distribution of the shoppings that has been finalized. And not only this, they have cameras all over the place, now working on a Wi-Fi, giving police images of the street. So they are well prepared for this operation to restrict people inside their homes and to hunt down people who are rebelling against the curfew.
yeah, that's deep, man. It's covering these tactics, man. It's very, they are, and of course, the preparation has been, you know, to be thinking that if you're sitting here just discussing on a stream, which then I guess just you're starting a little bit behind the pace of the race or the pace of the tournament because these people are well advanced and you know routined and have thought outside this, not only outside the box but into the future and are very prepared for either or outcome. They have a plan A, B, C. So what will happen in 5 years? There's a plan for that, which way it will go, and then even there. So you know, I think that's a another big factor. You know, if you're not aware of time management, I don't think I'm not a very my time management ain't too great probably, but you know, it's good. Yeah, it's quite scary though to think that that is the case. If that is the what is if that's the complete case that um you know there is an attack, then they just want everybody to be on lockdown and doing.
They're strengthening their assets. Huh? So they have
Yeah.
power, they have hospitals, they have schools, they have like cinema and opera. They have all kinds of buildings in their hands, in their decision. Huh?
Mm.
So
Yep.
they are already ramping up a lot of wealth for that kind of people. They've been gathering strong hospitals, not just a hospital you can break into. No, these are hospitals made for cornering people and locking them up also. You see, it's like a police station. You talk there, but you are behind the screen.
Yeah, and that's the worst place to be. I'll tell you, I can tell you that. And it's a shame. And then once you get out of there, it's even worse. Like you try to generalize this back into, you know, the workforce, or the people look at the tag and it's all over. You know, it's been nice. You know, you'll see like sat on the other side of the police, and then on the other side, receiving tickets and being in jail and.
And like always, these buildings, they get a full-time or a good protection program against a population. Huh? The cinema or the opera, it belongs to the city, but the people, they can't claim the buildings. So it's not in their hands. The image is it's from the people, but reality is nothing is from the people. Huh? And they're not building up society for a people. No, they are building up a society for the rulers of the people.
For their own corporation. That's right. Yeah, I think, you know, to that point, that's very much, I can understand that, because in music business, that's the whole difference between that. Like I say, music performance and music business are two completely separate different things, because, you know, the executive of a company may not be able to sing a note or play any instrument, but he knows how to work this marketing figure or promote, whereas the same way the performer doesn't know, you know, could perform the song very well, but he might not be able to chart himself or get into any festivals or anything like that. Or, but anyway, I see what to continue the saying is, what I was saying is that they will have taken a long time to perfect the way that they're doing what they're doing. As he's saying, they're building up these buildings and things, because I think there's another gentleman, autodidactic of YouTube, that was saying he did a look at Australian history, and he showed that, you know, we say that this is a young country, right? So we've been here for only 200 years, but so and it was to show a little bit within Melbourne. I think it's I'm not sure, there's Collins Street, I think. There was a massive building with like 12-meter tall rooms, three-story uh, 12-meter each story with like huge pillars and all these things, right? Back in, they'd settled in 1780, and or it was only like 30 years later from settlement. So obviously, I mean, and so you, what he was saying to that point was, why would you be building such a huge monument with only, such a small population, or um, what's it with the necessary? Well, really, I'm thinking is they're doing it all for the crown, and there's the doing it for their cause. Like there's
Yeah,
that bigger thing,
exactly.
there's the bigger edge going on. So
Here, these
have you been
hospitals, they are like cities. They have a hospital the size of a small city. You see, it's not just one block. It's there are maybe 50 towers on a big ground, and they call this a hospital. You see, it's a very big hospital. But I mean, they claim they don't have beds enough. They say they need 140,000 beds in a short period to resolve these problems. But you see how big these hospitals already are. You see how much car park space they get. It's full of car park space around these hospitals. While normal people, they don't even have a car park space in front of their house. But the hospital has a big car park, and then they're still not rich enough to have enough beds. So they need more money for more beds. I think this is all rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. I can see within that's it
It's the
from.
same like saying we need more beds for the homeless, but in 50 years they don't resolve the problems, and people are still homeless without beds. You see?
Yeah, and some people, yeah, so some people purposely get sick because they get in there. I mean, I've heard of cases. Someone was telling me that they were surprised during that's right, when I moved here, because being from like Brisbane and um living, going to Fiji so often, the temperatures there, it's always sunshine, right? So um coming to Adelaide, you're going to have that seasonal change of every during this winter. It doesn't snow where I am, but it gets a lot colder, so you need to wear a jacket. It gets very windy too, so you need to be prepared with your clothing and things like that in this time. So and like I
What
forgot
is
where.
interesting for me, Sunray, is what is happening in Australia after all these wildfires, and how are people reacting to these wildfires in their communities, and what is the the result today from what has happened in the summer in Australia? That is for
Well,
me is an interesting question.
I mean, there you go. Actually, I forgot where I was at before. I'd have to go look back, but there you go. There's a huge thing, and as we know, the answer to that is going to be unpredictable, because we haven't really gone through the trauma of like this a natural disaster of that extent, and then this worldwide medical pandemic type thing. You know what I mean? Like, so that's very gonna. That's a good question. How are we gonna, and at that, even I'd be more concerned about those sort of facilities. I mean, and that's, yeah, I guess, this is what the governments, and they're trying to announce all these their care packages and what, but like the amount of destruction that did happen in the fires to the wildlife and stuff, there was a very much excess volunteer work going on, and people helping the recovery of the animal, and then that hadn't enough time for these things to fully grow. So these animals hadn't fully recovered, and then we've been hit with this. So
2 years ago in Belgium, we also
uh,
had a very dry year. There was not much rain falling. So a lot of ponds, they became empty. And all the animals that normally survive in the ponds, they died off. Huh? While we are next to big rivers with a lot of water, the government don't want people to use water. They restrict our water usage. And then we have to live in drought while we are next to a big river. You see how unlogic they make it?
is that? I mean, we'll get back to that. Keep it holding because I just remembered why I lost the point. But we were talking about the rivers there as well. So, but before how so we're going a bit over here and there. But anyway, sorry about it. When you were talking, I was thinking somebody had told me that she was working at a hospital and like basically saying that during because I was talking about the temperature, so we have during the season cold in places that goes through the snow and the extreme winters, the homeless, like to be homeless there would be a lot harder, and so that the hospital people pretend to be sick and then they to be able to get a bed. So she was saying there's a higher increase in that. So that's why I was thinking about that before. But then to get back to your point of the water, is the water that is beside your living space, is it clean? Is that clean, I mean, usable water, or has it been all kind of polluted by the red units that run past?
I live next to a river running to the sea. The river is a little polluted, but it's water that can be used and can be cleaned. Eh? But to make everybody in a city uh, stop using water because there is drought and not having another plan is the same type of operation like we see today. They don't have an alternative solution. No, it's only one way solution. Whilst if you think rationally, you know there's a river running next to you carrying millions of liters of water. So it's just for them to pump it up and, and let it flow through the area to irrigate the area, that it doesn't get dry, that it doesn't catch a fire in the night. But if they don't
Yeah.
do nothing and the area becomes very dry, then people will suffer a lot because they cannot grow a lot of things on a dry soil.
Oh, absolutely. That's a very good tip because you know, people with who don't have a farming background or knowledgeable about that, you do need uh, very fertile soil. Not only that, but you need, if you are to do continuous plantation in the same area, you need to allow the land to rest. You need to give it, you can't just keep going
And all these
same
problems,
space.
they always say it's the climate change, but it's not the climate change. No, it's the people who don't make adequate plans to provide water in times of drought. Like when you're hungry and when the people get hungry, there are still not food banks adequate to supply the food for all these people. You see?
Mm.
They make it very hard for people to have a normal life within this situation where they prevent you from using water for your own garden.
Yeah,
And this way, uh, a lot of grounds they get damaged, and like We catch a small freezing temperature around March, and that one kills a lot of fruit from the fruit trees. You see? And normally we don't have this kind of frost. And it only takes 2 days, but they destroy a lot of fruit with this kind of frost in March. So it's not only drought, it's only also attacking or targeting the fruit farmers. The
No,
same
they've
like
been, yeah,
California fires, they were targeting certain type of agriculture.
they've been under attack with all the people from all the farmers for a long time. I think all over the world, from places, the natural, traditional crop growers used to. It's a very much all changed. From the what they produce to from where they produce it to who are the people doing it.
And here, the fruit markets now, the markets normally on Sunday for the people, they are prohibited. They can't take place. So people, they don't have fresh vegetables. People, they don't have fresh fruit from the normal market. You see? So
Yeah,
people, they are already victimized at this moment.
there you go. Yeah, I can see. Well, at least there's a good to see though in the other. I'm happy you provided uh the other picture, the avatar, or not an avatar, but the other picture here, which has got beautiful green grass. We just saw the lady and a few people walking around there. At least they're getting out and still enjoying. The lady had the dog there, and so you know, um, that's good, man. It's good to see the grass is really like nice. Uh, like I don't know, it just gives a very homely. Not a, it just gives a good feeling. Nature, beautiful. You can see more. Oh, you can see. See, it's good, yeah, that spot is good, man. Sometimes, and then the things around the so like, yeah, I mean, at least, I mean, I just hope everybody can is again I'll say the same thing. I hope that anybody to who like who is here in the chat or listening the or is to listen to this, anyone of us or our loved ones or anyone we um, are in our environment like are affected by this um, illness at this moment, at the moment, this COVID-19, you know, I guess in one sense, I mean, and I say in first hand, let me say, like I guess, because we all are affected in one sense that we see it on the television, but I'm sincerely hoping that, I mean, I say this on a sincere basis that I don't want anyone to be harmed, and I don't want to hear of anyone that I know passed away of this coronavirus. And the same goes for anybody who is listening to this or any of their loved ones. I don't want them to go through that feeling at all. So that's something I
think the main target, Sunray,
want to say.
are the big
Yeah.
cities. The big cities, they get the main target. Like here in Belgium, it's Brussels. Brussels is the biggest city, over 1 million people. So they get the most target.
And
Like
unfortunately,
they see,
always a Jean-Claude Van Damme, is it?
yeah, for example, they see uh, on the news they see that police will be seizing cars if you don't respect the law. Huh? If you still
Yeah.
go outside and you still going about while they told you to stay inside, they are in a way legal to take your car, or to
Mm-hmm.
fine you with an amount of penalty.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do this everywhere in this country. No, they are targeting those big cities with many peoples.
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid point because I mean, even saying that, myself, bit was in Brisbane, so that was it's probably the third largest city in Australia, um, and at the time I could see it growing, and the suburb where my parents live is very close to the city, so the G20 summit came there, and I could really see the change that was happening, and even the color to the police force uniform. They'd gone from a like their uniform changed really different. Like it was used to be a very light blue, but then that dark blue common SWAT, like that common authority force uniform came through, and they're all wearing it now. Like they all kind of look like that. But the fact that the G20 came, and like my the suburb that I lived in had all this lockdown. Like you couldn't drive through. You know they didn't, and this was just because of that. No, they were going through the city, and we were 5 kilometers out of it. So they had a big radius around it, and there was all this fuss and bustle. So that's why that was one main sort of reason I moved to where I'm at. So I'm now in Adelaide, which is, um, it's still for the first class facilities and everything. It's the capital city of South Australia, but in my from my experience, it could be described as and it is like, I mean, people are more laid back. Like it's a population of only 1 million, but I say a small. I mean, like country town. Like it's like it's a big city, but it has that country town feeling to it, small country town feeling about it, or like community feeling about it, in the
How
sense
many
that
people there in Adelaide?
it's 1 million, but so yeah, everybody, like, but just to and sense of like Brisbane or Sydney, Melbourne, where you walk by, it's just so big and busy. Always something going on. These things here, I guess, just shut down. There's not as much activity during the night time. Melbourne, Sydney, there's always something going on. Not to say that there isn't here, but it's just nowhere near as busy. And but yeah, that was one reason why I moved away, bro. But because I prefer that, and even because in Fiji, I think the whole population of the whole country is 1 million approximately. So that's the whole country. So that's on a island vibe. Like it's very. It just makes it there's a different. There's a different feeling to the whole. Um, like I guess what's the characteristics of the environment, like just really gives the sense of culture and closeness when all there is a small population on this set of island, like there's an island, should I say, there's not just one island, there's three main islands with one main one, and a lot of hundreds of smaller ones with people like communities living on them who have been there for centuries, but also the little tourist developments coming, backpack things along with half of it in Fiji. But big cities in Europe.
I live on the outside of the city of Ghent, so like in a part of the city, but outside of the center. so it's a little bit more quiet here, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of Turkish shops because we have a lot of Turkish people living here. And the
Yeah.
Turkish shops, those they are, how can I say it? They are, for me, it's a pleasure to have these Turkish shops because they don't comply to these same corporatocracy rules. You see,
Okay. Um. So
they don't
I
change the
think.
price. They don't make the same kind of bullshit. No, they're just continuing selling their products like before.
Yeah. Understanding. So.
But all the big
Um.
market shops, they all change
Yeah.
their policy, they all change their ways, and they all want to treat us like animals behind bars.
Yes. I can. I can. Yeah. I mean, I can. Agree. Sort of understand that. Sort of like, 'cause I've noticed, but that's the way they've got to keep the economy running. I guess in the sense of the prices have been up at the supermarket. You know, things have been on discount. But now that you mentioned that you're from the town of Gan, I was wondering, like, have you heard of that the 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 clothing album? Not maybe not only clothing, but the brand Gant. They make like clothes, maybe wallets, perfume. Actually, yeah, they make. Because I've had a couple colognes. Have you
No,
heard
I
of
don't
Gant?
know that brand. I don't know that brand.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder if it is spelled like it must have, because I'll check it out. I mean, I could look it up right now, actually, because it was one of my favorites, right? I used to, I've still got a few items, like, but I used to like colognes and jackets and stuff like that. Hang on a second. I was just wondering. Yeah, see, it's like, I thought it was. Oh, okay. So there you go. It was a not. It's because I thought it was a US sports brand, but then I thought it might have been related. Um, but it's basically what does it say? There's a probably I quick googled it. Gant stylized as well. See, this is how it's a Gant, or maybe it's whatever. It's stylized as GANT. Is an American Swedish clothing brand headquartered in Stockholm, Sweden. The company was founded in 1949 by Bernard Gantmacher, Gantmacher, and was originally based in New Haven, Connecticut. So basically, he started this brand. So then that's good timing. Like, Ma, would you know the pronunciation of that? It's in Swedish. Um, like it uh,
I
you
know
know,
gant in French, it means
but
hand shoes, gloves.
but and like is the like but how by the pronunciation of in Swedish would they say like how would
I don't know any
GANT.
Swedish.
So, but if it's Gan, I mean, 'cause like if it's GANTMACHER, how would you pronounce that? How would you say that? Gan. I mean, like, because if it's
Gant maker, Gant maker, gant
yeah,
maker, gent maker.
something
Well,
something
it's
like that.
like a glove maker.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So maybe his father, and because it's not his name wasn't Bern, it's Bernard, not Ber. NH, like Bernhard, it's Bernard. Definitely, so maybe there was a definite watcher. It was actually my, the was really one of my, I really used to love, and I still do actually. I just haven't gone on a lot of do that. Now these guys, and this is the gentleman I'm talking about. They make other, you know, they're classified as a closed term. It's a reason to Europe, but yeah, it's like the US sports style kind of thing.
I never saw this.
Yeah, I used to really like it, and but yeah, it's the first time I've been to actually. Australian ones are more difficult for that.
But
Just one
gaunt,
of the,
it means gloves. Gaunt, it
yeah,
means gloves.
they're basically like another high-end kind of, quality clothes. So I've always kind of like them, like Lacoste. But even then, that's been funny how, or Ralph Lauren or something like that, um, the or Ralph Lauren or whatever, the like how I remember being how in like the value of the thing, quote, this thing went up and down. Like, you know, it's quite, because it's quite, you know, it's amazing how some things will sell for like how they're made in where they're made. For what amount you do pay for the quality, though, no doubt. Like if you pay, um, you know, the $300 hoodie jumpers or something, they probably cost, you know, maybe $60 to make. But if you do get the $50 hoodie, they probably make $2 to make. But so that the quality is, yeah, that's still for the, I don't know if it's, you know, like it just doesn't like account for that huge price markup. But you know, that are we all fascinated by that? What is it? You know, the just to be hip with that, but because I've sort of gone out of that, going up
Can
into
you
like,
look for the UZ, Sondre? UZ,
how do you spell it?
the U from under and the Z from Zeppelin.
That's it. Okay,
Ghent.
that's what.
UZ and Ghent. And Ghent.
Oh, okay. Space or just one word?
Gent. With the E, not with the A.
Oh, okay.
Ghent. And now you press images.
Ah, this is what.
And this is a biggest hospital from Ghent, a university hospital. But you
Oh,
see, they have money enough because it's a whole city. Huh?
yes, we've had, and same thing that just happened to where I'm at actually, and I've been only here for the past few years, and the University of, well, I moved down here actually. I moved to, University of Adelaide, like on campus type living, uh, in my initial move here, and basically everything wasn't as built like because it was still very old fashioned. And it's still there, the architecture, but their medical facility just had in the last 3 years, it took them a long time. It was building while I came. I've been here for like 4 years, so, you know, it took them maybe five, more than that, but it is now finished. And it's like, like one of the biggest things one of the favorite countries that that we live in advanced medical facility, but it is the University of Adelaide campus, and it's where all it's their medical school, but it's actually like a building which looks like, you know, it's huge, as you say, something like
It's
this.
like a prison. You don't come there without passing the bar. Huh? You have to, it's all walled, so you have to pass the entrance to get inside the little university hospital town.
I wonder how many students. So, what's the population of, say, well, let's say Belgium and then Brussels and then Ghent in itself?
We have I would say 15 million population in Belgium, like a 2
Yeah.
million people in Brussels, and like a 2 million people in Flanders. And Ghent is the big city from Flanders with one of the big cities. Yeah, is the big city of Flanders with about 300,000 people.
Oh wow,
And from
wow,
the
and in
300,000
your
people,
300, yeah.
there are about 50,000 students.
Okay, so it is it's a basically a town very much where everybody is made up of consisting of, it relies
So
on this student
all
economy.
people living in this province, a
Yes,
lot of them come to study in Ghent because we have a
yes,
lot of universities. And a
yes.
lot of people, they come to work in Ghent from the cities around.
Whoa, look this one, brother. Do you know this one?
Well, you
Oh,
see how they've been renovating, and how they want to renovate and keep renovating those hospitals. And some are university hospitals, other hospitals are Catholic hospitals, and more other hospitals are from the same people organizing the welfare.
okay.
You see?
Do you recognize this place? The Princess Elizabeth's Children's Hospital, Ghent. Ghent. How would you say? Ghent.
I think
Ghent.
this will be on that same, you see there on that
Can you
same,
see?
yeah, but you see
Yeah.
a picture on the left, you see them planted inside the big university hospital territory. You see the mega parking, it says.
Oh, well, you can't see my screen here. Yeah.
That picture on the
Uh,
left. So they have on this area, on this mini city, in this small city of hospital, they have maybe 50 buildings, big blocks. One is for psychiatric, the other one is for the youth, another part is for palliative. They have all these different places for different kind of sick people.
this one.
Yes, it's a very big
Okay.
place.
There's all the car park. There's all the where my cursor is. You can see 1, 2, 3 level car park, car park, car park, car park, car park, car park, car park. People working.
And
People
you see
working.
next to the car park there, they have a small road so people can walk when it's raining from one building to the other.
Okay, where's that?
On the right side, you have from one building a road going to the next building,
Oh, yeah, this
and
one.
that's yes, that one. And that there, people
Wow,
they can walk without going through the rain.
amazing. See, I mean, sorry,
But
I don't mean to. That's
But this is the power of the university in Ghent. They are the biggest or one of the biggest employer of the whole city.
I love it. I love it. This looks very good.
It's
Oh,
it's one
uh,
of the best hospitals, but I mean, they are already rich and they already take so much area. Huh?
Yeah,
And then they
I'll do
claim,
that.
for example, they have not enough beds. For me, that's
Or
bullshit. Huh? No, they should have enough beds. And if they don't have enough
may-
beds, they should just create more space to put more beds. But this shouldn't have to cost money because we have beds enough everywhere. Huh?
do you recognize this one?
No, it's just a new building.
Oh, okay. It's
They
but it
just
says
made
this
this
one
one.
on
They
the other.
keep renovating, keep renovating, keep renovating. It's a hospital in renovation all the time.
Oh, you can even see somebody there. I think
I think
this is
we fix hospitals in Ghent.
this is amazing. Wow, really? And then even that, I mean, you said that it's so wow. Your medical um department. I mean, like must be huge. I mean, you got six hospitals, so I mean, not even the medical departments. That means you got six medical departments within those you different hospitals. So the percentage of students doing medicine there would be huge because I mean, you said it's only 300,000 and 50,000 of them are students. Maybe that was just a yes. What's the name of it? Architecture, medicine, economics.
And next to this big hospital, there is
See
the
that?
social housings.
Really?
So
Renovate.
next to this place where people are packed, there's another like a ghetto where also thousands of people live on a small area, all in these towers. They call it New Ghent
Okay, I'll
because
go
it
there
was
and
the solution for the the lack of housing. So they started to build very fast a lot of blocks, like 13 blocks, to house more than thousands of people in a short period of time.
just a quick question. Where my curve the thing you can see is this not where the walkway is it? Like along the top here. Would that be a walkway or they're all little offices? Each room is a different room. Or would that be the whole thing, the passageway like we were talking about before? You think? You know what I mean?
I don't
When
think
you
that's a walkway. I think
that's
above
the
it there's a walkway.
okay, somewhere. So what was the other one? The Zoo game in the same way.
But I mean, you see how much money they have to put in these kind of buildings. Eh?
Let's see, come on, man. With the housing.
Well, New Ghent, New Ghent, NIE. Try NIE.
Oh,
N NI van I. NIE.
oh,
E U. No, U and W.
oh.
Voilà. And now images.
Ta-da.
Social housing from Ghent. Block formations.
That's the side. Whoa, look
Ghetto. Next to the hospital.
at
Next to the highway.
This is amazing. Oh, hang on, look at that one. There's a good one there. Some people. Something happens.
maybe a fire. And in every block, there's more than hundreds of people.
Yeah, man, for sure. And this. We don't have it like this over here. Oh, maybe it's slightly, a little bit, but a lot
All
of our,
living from welfare.
yeah, a lot of our community ones are a bit lower. I mean, we do have some buildings like this, and I remember in the city I was grew up, we had something very similar in Brisbane, but in Dutton Park. I mean, it's still there, older buildings, but when they did their renovations, because I could, yeah, I remember that actually, but they kind of like, I'm not sure what they did to that, but we'll have to find out. It's great, crazy. It actually looked kind of like that. Probably only that tall though. Maybe only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not 10. Like only about maybe like 10 story tall. Maybe they're 10 story, 10, 11 story tall.
Not 12, 13 floors.
Yeah, like this. But this is where I was in Brisbane. So they had but this thing was built um long time ago in Brisbane, or maybe not long time ago, but like in the 19 something, uh, before 1950, maybe like that. And they had the same thing about like 6, 7 different buildings, or like Block A, Block B, Block C, Block D, and all the people lived in there. I remember my friend, a Vietnamese friend, was living there with his mother, 2 bedroom house, another Greek family, all sorts of people there were there.
These buildings have houses. These buildings have names like Jupiter. You see,
Wow.
of Orion and Jupiter.
Oh well, the Nordic god, and the planet. I wonder if that was graffiti, but it was just artwork that they put on the building.
And before, all these housings were property of the city. But then in 2012, they sold every building to one new company. You see? So now we
Yeah,
are all in a private company renting.
but
It's no longer property of the city, they claim. So they rise the renting price in 2012 with more than hundreds of euros every month.
whoa, that's a good one. There's the population. So you said there'll
A
be
lot of migrants, huh?
Turkish, African,
Turkish, Moroccan, Africans,
Northern. Oh, well, Moroccan is Northern African,
real Ghent.
and then
All living on top of each other.
look at that. Isn't that quite hilarious? In the daytime, I wonder what these boys, bigger brothers, doing at night time. These people come to, but keep going. This is good. Yeah, so we'll keep it. This one. Probably Ethiopian, maybe. Ethiopian, do you think?
I think, or Malawi or Somali.
Okay, yeah, maybe Somalian. Do they? But they do. Do they speak the language well? Like they've been integrated well, or do they
Well,
contribute to their
to
own
get
culture?
the citizenship in Belgium, you need to follow a mandatory course of Dutch.
Okay,
So after this course, they will all be able to talk necessary Dutch.
well, look at that artwork.
But they
You
are
see,
free to talk their own language, and nobody will punish them for talking their own language.
oh, okay, it's like they need to be knowing. Yeah, that's a good thing, though. What's this? Oh, somebody with a thing. Look at this figure, like, Do they ever put it with the H? GH? Okay, so that's how it is. So, whoa.
This is the historical center. That's where the youths normally in the summer they come together.
Along here.
And then we smoke by the river.
Yeah, cool, man.
And when it's hot, some people they jump the water.
From there. This is a pretty cool, good look at them. Oh, check if we got anybody here now. Been gone for a while. Come back. Yeah, no, same. No reason. This is good. I'm happy though because it's interesting. It's good learning. Well, I am anyway. I'm hoping that any viewers are. Thanks, man. Like you give it a good insight.
I'm happy to talk to you, Sunray. I really enjoy your talk.
Yeah, man. Likewise, we do get along. I say, like, I mean, even I said, so you would put that H there most time.
I have some trouble understanding you because for me, it sounds a little mumbling. You mumble a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's your Australian accent, but it's understandable.
Nah, I think I do. Well, yeah, both ways. It'd be my accent and I mumble too. I need to speak out. Whoa, what's this?
But I have to concentrate to understand what you're saying.
Have you seen this building? No.
I don't know where is this.
Yeah. But the water place, you've seen this one, eh?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
so that's city center.
We have 3 towers in Ghent. 3 towers.
Okay.
And the tower you see there by the water, that's a castle. On the back. In the back, you see a castle. You see the castle there in the back?
Up here.
Yes, that's the castle of Ghent.
Whoa.
They call it Gravensteen. It means the stone of the count stone.
Wow. And who is the one who lives there now?
And it's there already from 1500 or something.
And so is it the queen or king?
Well, it was from the count, from a count. Huh?
Oh, that's not the royal family. Okay, you're right. That's count.
But
that's not the royal family.
no, not the royal family. But in time, they even used it as a spinning shop to make carpets, to make productions of textiles. But then, like some time ago, the city bought it, and now it's a public attraction, the castle.
Oh, okay, right. But so then presiding over the family, is it like, and I totally got what you were saying. That was the count place and how they've done
Yeah, again, a lot of static. Sonri, I can't hear what you're saying.
I was just wondering, like, is it like, I mean, you know how each, I think that in Dutch they've got the queen. Is it Bernhard? I think it's the king. Who's the ruler? In Belgium, who have they got?
Now we have a king. He's called Philippe, King Philippe, in Belgium.
And then, do you have also the prime minister?
The name of the prime minister? You
No, no,
mean?
no. Okay, no, no, no. You obviously do. So the same, obvious, like yeah, this political system is exactly the same. Well, King
Oh,
Philip, do they
well,
get along? Do
it's
they get
not
along?
really the same, I think. We had some trouble time ago. So the government, they took charge, and now the king, they receive dotations. But the role of the king is strictly for public measures. It's no longer he is a ruler. No, he gets dotation. He's a public figure. You see?
What's the rotation?
So he's still playing the king, but he's not really a king. He cannot make laws. He cannot make decrees. He have to sign the laws.
Yep. Okay, I understand now. Well,
But he has a
ever
big family.
when
They
did
all
that?
receive a lot of money, and those who are serving the court, they are the biggest businesses in Belgium. You see, like if you're gonna go for football, you might see the king of Belgium sitting in the arena watching the football.
When did they do that? When was the royal family like that?
The last 50 years, I think. But then there was a fight for independence of of Vlaanderen. You see, I told you last time about Vlaanderen and the French part and the Dutch part. They make troubles with each other. So now the Dutch part has its own government. The French part has its own government. And then there's a government who supersedes both governments. So in Belgium, there are three governments.
Do they have state lines?
Yeah, the sound is really bad, but that one is called the Belfort.
Shit, maybe there's some cooler thing. But it does get staticky sometimes.
The
Belfast.
tower you saw there was the Belfort.
Oh yeah.
Yes, one of the three towers of Ghent.
Oh wow. Okay, so okay. Do you know when it was built?
Also,
Probably
like
look it up.
1500, but I don't know exact. But if you check it, you will see it.
Yeah.
Belfort.
So I was just wondering doing the same thing, like because if you look at the surrounding, all of these places are just so small, right? And this is all the modern places of for the people providing for the community that was there and the people and what they needed, like what was necessary, right? The biggest building is this
Oh,
one
well,
here.
the
So no, just
building.
wait. I want to get to the point of like how and like this would have all this area here would have been built in maybe only the last 40 years now, so in 1980 or something. Now or even, but then this building here of this size, the biggest one of the three towers of Ghent, is like um with the such huge. Like, why would they, as this like the other video, like in 1500, 500 years ago, where this would have been all green forest or like bare land with nothing. Maybe the population would be so less, but why did they build such a huge, you know, same
I think
reason?
it's to see the people coming from the distance and to ring the bell if there are troubles.
Oh,
Some people were up there, like on a ship, and they climb into the mast to see if on the horizon is approaching enemies. And when the
right.
enemy is come, they ring the bell fort.
There you
It's a
go.
protection.
We are learning here every day because that makes complete sense, right? So if you've
We
got the
still
three
have the
towers
bell.
protecting the reasons, yes. Uh, so and I was just thinking I mean, to what extent would you build such, and then it goes to the point we were talking before of the Melbourne buildings of these 12-meter, like such as this one here, maybe like these rooms are like 10 meters tall to the roof. If like this person, one person would stand in there, they'd only go to this much. You could fit two or three of them in there. Um, but so why would you need? But that's a great point, eh? That's cool. So they go up there if there was trouble, if they run to the top, bing, 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 and everybody hears. They get ready to go. Is that a church on the bottom, do you think? Or no? Just the entrance to
It's
the
not a church at the bottom. The church is behind that tower. There's another tower, and that's the church of Saint Nicholas. On the left side of the tower, you see the
okay,
church.
this one.
That's the church, Saint Nicholas, and also with a big tower, but not so clear on the image.
Yeah, I can't go any zoom. I mean, any closer. Can't zoom any further.
Now, well, if you
Uh,
take the picture on the right, I think you will see.
oh, I can press. It might take some time. There you go.
Hmm,
Da-da-da-da.
Hello. These are two towers, and then there's another one behind you. But
If
the
I could turn
building code in Ghent restricts high buildings, so we don't like 3 stories higher. So
oh,
inside the city, there's a building block to build high buildings. So that's why they had to make new Ghent to get those high buildings in. They had to start
uh,
outside the city with the high buildings, and now they are advancing into the cities to make more high buildings.
like this one here, and you can see here and here. Maybe this is
Yes,
probably.
yes.
Hmm, cool. A lot, because I mean that's something I was wondering, why is it so low too? But obviously, you just explained it. 3 stories was the limit to the inner city area.
Yeah. If you go to Zeeland, to Holland, to the Netherlands, here on the side of Belgium of the channel, then you will see also in Holland they don't want to build high buildings. They want small homes, maybe even only 1 story high. So they have small homes, but they don't have the trouble of too many people on the same surface.
Was the Netherlands once called New Zealand,
Oh, well, in
or,
between
or do you
Belgium
pronounce
and Holland, there's a water, eh? There's a channel.
right?
But the
Yeah.
Netherlands has a piece of Belgium is called Zeeland. It's called Sea Land. Huh?
with it because is it had anything to do with the reference of like New Zealand, the country, and like maybe the people who found it and the discoverers, or no? Because
It's
I just
because they are living next to the sea. It's a sea land. It's a
oh
land
not
next to
not
the sea.
Zealand, not Zealand. Okay.
Normally, the sea floods this land, but we make a dike, we make a wall, so the sea doesn't flood this area anymore. A
Yeah.
lot of Belgium and Holland, Netherlands, they are below the sea
Yes.
level. So if
Yeah.
there was not a wall, we would all
I
drown
went.
every time the sea rises.
I went to Amsterdam once. I went through the canals and things. That was pretty cool to see that. But I didn't go out anywhere past the city center.
There's only
Oh,
few flood zones left, but before we had a lot of flood zones
I went to
where
the
we let the sea flood the area every day.
we let the sea flood every day because you have to let it out.
But in history, this place what you're looking at now, here is where the boats came with their stuff to sell on the markets. The boats came into the city and here they were loading the boats, you see?
Yeah.
Before.
Ah,
That's why it's called the grass lay and the corn lay, because they were shipping grass and corn.
ah, I see. Like that makes sense because it's like it's very obvious, you know, simplistic. What's this one say?
That's the
The
castle I was
hotel.
talking about, the
And now they
Count
turn. Oh,
Castle.
you can stay here as well.
Next door, probably, but not inside the castle.
Oh, it's it underneath. Okay. Well, man, look, see the moat in the 1500s. This is what they would have had as protection. This much water before you get to the house. Cool, man.
We had another historical place, but it's totally destroyed. And it's called Spaanse. Wait a second.
Check
If
it
you
out.
look for Spaan's Kasteel, then you will
Going there.
find another castle what was there before, but now it's totally destroyed. And I don't know if you know about
People
uh,
walking around here.
Emperor Charles, Keizer Karel. You know about Emperor Charles?
No,
He was a
not
Spanish emperor having a lot of land in America and in Europe.
well. I
And
don't
this is
know.
part of the history of Ghent,
I
because
can just
Ghent, there was the emperor was born in Ghent. So the people from Ghent, they didn't want to pay the taxes from the emperor. So the Spanish people, they came in Ghent and they make Ghent people walk around in the city with a cord around their necks, and they were all hanged. They were all hanged to show the people you have to pay the taxes to the emperor. And this is part of the history of Ghent, the hanging of the people. We are
Well,
all
that's
wearing cords.
come on, man. I don't like that.
It's
No,
part
I'm
of
just
the
joking.
history, yeah.
No, I'm just joking, brother. Um, yeah, that's very good. That's very some enlightening. And this is what I'm saying. This is I like that. I shouldn't have said I don't like that because this channel is about information that is not so commonly known. But I guess that's commonly known in your area. But
Yes.
you know,
Every
I'm
year
trying to
we have a
get
party
I want to get to the facts that the not so the things
in
that
the
they
city.
don't tell you about when they were hanging. You know, like because that's a horrid thought. You know, all those things. So imagine the um, you know, the activity, the atrocious behavior that would have been rampant at the time between the people, the thoughts that would have run through their mind. You know, like whew, I didn't even want to actually. I won't even say that because that's
But
just
Ghent
going.
at the time was conquered by Spanish people. And from the Spanish castle, Ghent was ruled militarily before. But I'm talking about 400 years ago or something. Because the Emperor Charles, he had he was the emperor of America and a big part of Europe. They said this emperor, his empire was an empire where the sun never sets because he had America and Europe. And that's Emperor Charles.
Emperor Child. All right, I think it's like what was it? Um, that's pretty cool, man. Although everything is what are we on? We're over 2 hours. I thought, oh, someone just entered the room. Someone new. I think much peace to the person, whoever you are, or um, whoever's been most, and much thanks to all the people who have been watching. Because you know, oh, they just left, maybe. Because I was going to maybe shut it down pretty soon, but yeah, what's the time over here? What's the time over there? Where you at?
It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so you'd be good. Um, what about so I think yeah, I think I might do that. We'll probably like much appreciation for all the comments today, brother. Um, that's good because I mean I was just going to do an impromptu thing, and I think yeah we'll close up soon. It's just you and I now, so it's like oh no, it's probably someone else, a few others, but
No problem, Sunray. For me, it's okay. I said what I wanted to say.
yeah,
It's okay.
no, that was really good. Yeah, yeah, like I know either way we could hop on any other time, and we will do for sure. Um,
But maybe you can do the same with Adelaide and show some pictures and talk about it a little bit.
yeah, like I mean, even that's like you know, as it was an impromptu thing for me to come on anyway, and like I was trying to do that topic of the title of the video, like, are we going to be? Is it what is this? What is life about? Are we going to be always just fighting each other, or is there going to be peace, or does it even matter? Then we get into talking about how the history of these buildings and societies and what things are like. So it's like you know, I don't know. I could do. I'll like definitely be doing some sort of um, thing that could be thought provoking. But yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll probably end it out with like something that I one of the last videos I put out, which is a bit of or which one?
But
Uh,
many of these buildings, they are public buildings, so the city is owner of these buildings now, and they renovated them to stay strong for the next 30 years. But It costs a lot of money, and when they close it, people they don't have a say in it. So it's from the people, but in reality, it's not from the people, and it's used for touristic attractions.
Yeah, it's not good. But I thought I'd be doing the other one, but I guess I gotta make it like anyway, because I'll make the other. Because I like the beats as you do actually. You when you get the edit too, which is pretty cool. But not that I mean I want to do further and do more hip hop things, so I'll probably just like break it out because it's about 15 minutes. But
Well, I
people,
think I'm going also now, but I wish you the best, Sonray, and I really like how you bring forth conversations with new people. You have a good way of connecting with people and building together. Keep
oh
up the
thanks,
good work.
much peace, man, much peace. Thank you. You
You
too,
do a
bro.
good job.
I'll talk. Yeah, man. We talk soon.
Peace off.
You too. All right. Um, so that was like, peace out, peace off. That's pretty funny, too. I mean, much thanks, obviously, to Ma, and that I'm just chilling in. But so what I was going to do is because it's funny with the accent, I might I mean, if you're Australian and to be saying, you might be going like, piss off, mate, piss off. But I don't think he meant that at all. He was peace. So what do I do? I go to here. So this was, we'll be closing out now. Thanks to everybody who stayed tuned and everything, and everybody's going to watch this. If you got this far, thanks very much. Please do hit the like and everything. I see I've got one thumbs down. Quite funny. I don't know who it was. Um, but it seems, yeah, it's been one of the best anyway. Whatever it is, it is. This was the tutorial I did. Um, Actually, I'll bring it up. Look, I won't be so lazy. Come on, I'm still here. Okay? Um, so, so this goes up straight away. We get the feeling. Okay, so. All right. Hello and welcome to the first April audio broadcast. This channel basically is dedicated to audio. Okay, so this is what I did the other day. Getting it basically about it like that, and this is not a thing where we'll recognize it. This was just to express the pump of faith. Skipping to, oh, there was hey, what am I doing? If I go to the comments, for a far loop. That was basic thing. To trigger off. So, as I said previously, I want this to be the kick drum. So, as I've labeled it, it's instrument one kick. I want this bass node to be triggering off the kick drum every time it plays. And basically, I've set. I mean, you can set particular uh, tweaks that you have and settings at their frequencies and save them at your disposal. But I'll show you now how to achieve that. That's basically going to be just be tweaking with your threshold, ratio, attack, and release. Just the you obviously I'll give you a more emphasized pump.
I'm not good at
less
really being
emphasized
precise and
pump,
concise. I need to fix that because I'm rambling there. You're
take
saying
it
I'm
all
mumbling.
off, put it down. Now that
Yeah,
should
that's
give
sure.
me just a very
This is
basic.
what this was the melody, like, you know.
Now that is to bypass. I'll turn on the compressor.
Everything's off. Now, if I start to basically tweak with these, giving it a quicker release,
High attack,
very
quick
quick attack,
really.
and the threshold. Now, this is where you should hear things. Right, this is the effect I'm talking about. So, as you can hear there, is okay. Yeah, the kick.
That was something sort of I was trying to do the other day. Now I'll I want to continue on doing similar things, but all sorts of genres, trap genre, EDM, hip hop for sure, because that's what mainly people haven't seen. Oh, really cool. Yeah. I'll show you the continuation of it. I spent the next couple hours on it. In no way did I fix the mixing or mastering or anything. I just showed how you can get a track off it. So we're pretty much out of here. Celebration. Check them out. Thanks again for everyone for tuning in. Peace always. Look inside yourself. Find your direction. Follow that path. Be the best you can be. Follow your intuition. Much thanks to Ma coming through. Much thanks to Sposy for coming through. Much thanks for Don Davo. Much thanks to all that'll hear this. But this is just a little sample, nowhere near the complete sort of finished product that way you can do, but as long as you can hear that pumping bass. Take care of yourself, especially in this time. Stay hydrated. Eat well, sleep well. Thank you for joining us. Please do all those good things that you should. Peace out, always.